Imagine this. A few weeks after selling your home, you get a letter saying you are being sued by your buyer. Sounds crazy, right? And it happens. And it's not always because the seller was dishonest. In most times, it's innocent mistakes that ended up costing the sellers thousands of dollars and months of stress. So in today's video, I'm going to go over top 5 mistakes that sellers make and how to avoid them so you can protect yourself and your sale. Let's take a look. Mistake number 1, your home, even by accident. Here's a true story. A seller listed their home and described their windows as newer. The buyer thought newer means 2 to 3 years old. So at the closing, the buyer saw a document indicating that the windows are 10 years old. To the seller, newer seemed accurate, but to the buyer, it felt like a deception. So because of that kind of feeling, the buyer demanded $10,000 of credit for the windows. The seller refused, so the deal fell apart. Fortunately, the seller was able to find another buyer and eventually got a house sold successfully. What the seller didn't expect was that a few weeks later, he got a letter from the first buyer saying that they are suing him for being deceptive. And after months of paying legal fees and dealing with frustration and stress, the seller ended up paying $10,000 to the buyer to settle. After months of paying legal fees, and the seller ended up paying $10,000 to settle with the buyer, even though they didn't do anything malicious. So the lesson? Be specific. If you replaced anything, keep the receipts, keep the documents, and if you need to complete the seller's disclosure, put in the date. Avoid using words that is vague, such as newer, or if you know the date or the year, put them in the seller's disclosure. And then number 2, failing to disclose a known issue. The golden rule of selling a home is disclose, disclose, disclose. If you know about a problem, you need to let the buyer know, period. Even if it is a one-time event, such as a rare flood or a minor termite issue that was fixed years ago, disclose it. Here's why. If you let the buyer know upfront about these issues, you are protected. But if you hide those information and the buyer later find out, then they could claim fraud and sue you later. Like I mentioned earlier, always keep your receipts and any documents related to repairs or inspections organized. This way, you're going to have all the information handy. And anytime if a potential buyer has any question, you have some documentation to show them that you have had work done honestly. Mistake number 3, thinking as is means you're off the hook. Many sellers think that if they sell their home as is, they don't have to disclose anything. It's not true. Even with an as-is sale, you are required to disclose any known issues. The word as-is don't protect you from potential lawsuits if a buyer finds something later on that you knew but failed to mention. Every home is technically sold as is, and there's no return policy. However, the disclosure laws still apply. Mistake number 4, privacy violation with smart home devices are everywhere nowadays. Camera, doorbells, and audio recording. So if you use them at your home and you need to let people know that they are being recorded, it's the law. A simple way of doing that is to put a sign at the foyer, so when people come in to see your house, they can see the sign right away. You can write something like, this home contains audio and video recording devices, or something like that, or this home is being monitored, or something like that, as long as you make people know ahead of time. It's easy, it's cheap, and it keeps you safe. Mistake number 5, fair housing violation. This one trips up many well-meaning sellers. Let's say you raise your kids in the home, and then you would love to have a young family move in. Or your neighbor says, oh, it would be great if you can sell the home to another family like ours. Completely innocent conversation, right? Unfortunately, if you choose an offer based on family status, and that is considered, that can violate fair housing laws. The same applies to those love letters that the buyers write to sellers. If one buyer says, okay, they have kids and the other doesn't, and if you choose your offer based on that letter, then you could be sued for discrimination. So if you ever receive any offer or offers with a love letter, and what my advice is that you ask your agent to hold on to the letter and you just compare the offers first, purely based on their price, their terms, and the timing. And by the time you are done reviewing all the offers and make your decision, then you can go take a look at the letter. So these are the top 5 mistakes. Selling a house doesn't have to be scary, and here are how you can protect yourself. Number 1, do a pre-listing home inspection. Granted, we have been living in the house for a long time, and there might be deferred maintenance or maybe some issues that we don't think it is a big deal, but in the eyes of a potential buyer, it could be a major issue. So let's have a home inspector to check things out for us, and so we can find the problem before the buyers do. And 2 is that be specific and detailed. Like I mentioned a few times, that always keep the receipts and the documents related to the repairs or the replacements or any inspections related to this property. This way, you have all the information handy. And number 2 is that if ever a buyer have questions about anything, you have something in writing to show them. And number 3, disclose everything. So if you know what issues there were, even though they have been fixed and there's no recurrence or anything, disclose. Number 4, follow up with emails. Keep a paper trail of every conversation. So by being proactive, you can not only reduce the risk of you not only can reduce the risk of a lawsuit, you can also establish trust with the buyer and therefore have a smoother transaction. So many sellers never intend to mislead anyone, but still mistakes can happen. Follow these steps so that you can protect yourself, but also protect your wallet. If you're thinking about selling and need some expert guidance, reach out. I'd be happy to help you navigate the process with confidence. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.